Just a quick talk about health and what we're doing with our bodies. So the title of this talk, what I decided, the title of this video, your body needs glucose, so why are you eating so many carbs? Yeah, think about it. Have you ever heard someone say, your body needs glucose, so why need carbohydrates for energy? At first glance, this sounds perfectly logical. After all, your body absolutely needs glucose. But is that an excuse to load your plate with cereal, bread, bagels, pastries, rice, pasta, sugary drinks, and other foods that quickly become glucose in the body? There, that's a different question entirely. One of the greatest sources of confusion in nutrition is that many people use the words glucose and carbohydrates as though they mean the same thing, but they don't. Right? I want you to understand the difference. So not so you can follow a particular diet, not so you can argue with anyone, but so you can better understand how the human body actually works and have more informed conversations with your own health, or about your own health, because we're all on the health spectrum at different points. So, to start with, the human body requires glucose. That is true. There is no debate in that whatsoever. Certain cells depend on it. Red blood cells require glucose. Portions of the brain use glucose. The body works continuously to maintain blood glucose within a relatively narrow range because it's essential for life. So the question isn't whether we need glucose. We do. The real question, where does the glucose come from? Now, most people immediately think about food. And food is certainly a way to provide glucose. But that's only part of the story. The human body has a built-in system designed to maintain glucose levels, even when dairy intake is low. Dietary intake is low. Through a process called gluconeogenesis, the liver and kidneys manufacture glucose from other available sources. Especially if you're a little plump, you have a lot of those resources available. I know I do. And even for someone who's slim, right? There's brown fat and white fat. We got lots of it unless we've been starving. Other available resources are amino acids from protein and glycerol from fat. Think about that for a moment. The body doesn't panic when carbohydrate intake drops. The only panic we get into when our stomach starts growling because it went through our breakfast this morning. And we do not give it the opportunity to flip the switch and look for other sources of fuel. And the body is a creature of habit. If you keep fueling it with carbohydrates, it's going to keep looking for carbohydrates. And if you do not develop metabolic flexibility, well, you're stuck in that cycle, right? Your body makes what it needs, which leads us to another important concept. The human body is designed with more than one fuel source. Most of us are familiar with glucose as fuel, but fat is also a fuel. In fact, the body stores significantly more energy as fat than it does as glucose. When food is not immediately available or when glucose intake is reduced, the body can draw upon stored fat and produce ketones. Ketones can provide fuel for much of the body, including large portions of the brain. This ability to switch between fuel sources is often called metabolic flexibility. And if you don't allow your body to be metabolically flexible, then you're the one who created that stuckness. It's one of the reasons human beings have survived throughout history during times of food was plentiful and when foods were scarce. All right, so let's address a common argument. People often say, but athletes need carbohydrates. Yeah, some do, depending on what type of sports they're in. But even that conversation requires context. A sprinter has a different fuel demands than an endurance athlete. A professional cyclist may fuel differently from a marathon. And there are athletes who have conditioned their bodies to perform remarkably while using predominantly fat and ketones as fuel. The point isn't that one approach is superior. The point is that the human metabolism is adaptable. Different bodies, different goals, different fuel strategies. And that brings me to something I believe is often overlooked. We all look to exist at different points along the health spectrum. A healthy teenager, a highly trained athlete, a middle-aged adult carrying excess weight, a woman navigating through menopause, a person living with diabetes, a retiree who is largely sedentary. These individuals are not standing in the same place metabolically. Why would we assume their fuel requirements are identical? The amount of and type of food that supports one person's health may not support another person's health equally well. Yet many nutritional conversations ignore this reality. Instead of asking, how much should everyone eat? Perhaps we should be asking, how active am I? How metabolically healthy am I? How does my body respond to different foods? What are my goals? And what is my body glucose telling me, my blood glucose? What is my energy telling me? What is my body trying to communicate? Because our bodies are always communicating. Do we listen? Most of us don't. We fall back on what we're been accustomed to habits, instead of truly being intentional and tuning into our bodies. The challenge is that many of us were never taught that language. I also recognize that food choices don't exist in a vacuum. Many communities where budgets are tight, food choices are often limited, not only for the individual, but even for the neighborhood store. People work with what's available, what's affordable, what's familiar, and what's filling. That's the reality of many families around the world. But regardless of our circumstances, understanding how the body uses fuel helps us make more informed decisions. When options are available. And it helps us ask better questions. My goal isn't to tell you exactly what to eat. My goal is to encourage curiosity, to help you understand the difference between glucose and the foods that can become glucose, to recognize that the body has multiple fuel systems, and to appreciate that we all exist at different points along the health spectrums, and to understand that what serves one person may not necessarily serve another, because informed people ask better questions, and the better question often leads to better decisions. So I'll leave you with this. Your body needs glucose, not carbohydrates. Your body can make glucose. Your body can also use fat and ketones for fuel. The question isn't whether humans need glucose. The question is whether the amount, the type you're eating today truly match your body's needs and your lifestyle and your current place on the health spectrum. Something for you to think about, and I mean truly think about, right? Where are you on the health spectrum? There is no one size fit all. What are your metabolic needs? Because overloading your body with glucose can present itself with a metabolic challenge and develop into dis-ease that we have to come to terms with, whether it be diabetes, gout, hypertension, feeding into cancerous cells, and a whole health of things. Dementia, also known as type 3 diabetes. So, like I said, something for you to think about and learn more about. So join me maybe in the Reset community and learn more about metabolic health. Love you all, and I wish you the best of health.